If you want to start a profitable digital product business this year, here are my most crucial tips to help you out. If you're new here, hello, my name is Tatyana, and I'm a teacher turned full-time online entrepreneur. I was able to quit my full-time job after successfully scaling my Etsy shop to generate 4 figures a month in passive income. I then used that passive income as leverage to buy my time back, use that time to start several other online passive income streams, which I talk about here on this YouTube channel. I remember the feeling back when I first started my digital product business that I just felt completely lost, and I fell down a rabbit hole of watching video after video here on YouTube, most of which just left me feeling more lost and frustrated than before. So today I want to hopefully give you some clarity and direction, so by the time you reach the end of this video, you'll know exactly what your next step should be to turn your business idea into something that is real and profitable. So let's jump right into my first tip, which is all about your niche. You probably heard this before, but the niche that you choose for your digital product shop really matters. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that your niche is the type of product that you sell, but I actually don't define niche that way. Instead, I think of your digital product niche as the type of customer that you're selling to rather than the type of product that you're actually making and selling. The reason that I define a niche this way is because good digital products that are actually profitable act as digital tools that help specific people achieve specific goals or solve specific problems. So if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, Tatyana, I'm interested in selling digital products, and I'm wondering if I should get into the printable art niche. Is this a good niche or is it oversaturated?" I wouldn't be able to give you a straightforward answer because you're defining your niche by the type of product. In general, a lot of Etsy sellers are selling printable art. So if you're also just trying to sell generic printable art, you're going to have a lot of competition on your shop. But if instead of trying to create as many different printable art designs as you could, you instead focused on building a shop for a specific buyer, and in that shop you also offered printable art, those printable wall art designs could sell really well. So if you built an Etsy shop with a bunch of different printable products for teachers or homeschool parents or new parents who want to design a nursery for their new baby, printable art designs that are made to be posted in classrooms, nurseries, homeschool classrooms, or given as baby shower gifts, those could perform really well because they help specific people accomplish a specific goal. Of course, it's totally fine to start your business with perfecting your craft of creating one specific type of digital product. So if you only want to create and sell printable wall art, or if you only want to create and sell digital invitations, I would just encourage you for your first 10 or so products to make sure that all of the products in that collection are generally designed to be purchased by the same type of customer. Even with building an Etsy shop for a specific customer, not all niches are created equal. Some have organic demand and some don't. And this is the main reason why some digital product businesses are successful and some are not. You cannot force people to want to buy your products, no matter how much time you spend creating those products or how many times you post your products on your personal Instagram story. When a product has an organic demand, it just means that people are searching for those products on their own time because they need them. These are things people are actively looking for to help them solve their problems, not something that people saw an ad for somewhere and were convinced to buy. If your product has organic demand, that means that you're going to be able to make passive income. The only reason why my digital product shop generates passive income is because I have a variety of products that people are looking for to help them solve their problems. If people weren't actively looking for my products on their own, there would be no organic demand. So even though I'm selling digital products, the moment that I stop promoting those products, the sales would stop coming in. And that is not passive income. That is just door-to-door sales on the internet. Some examples of different products that have organic demand on Etsy are a lot of digital products in the event planning space. So things like printable invitations for weddings, baby showers, gender reveals, funerals, graduations, and sweet 16s. Also Evite versions of these event invitations. So templates that are just meant to be sent digitally instead of printed and sent physically. Also other digital products for all of those types of events as well, like party games, printable menus, and printable decor like wall art for a baby shower gender reveal, or like a printable sign for a gender announcement or pregnancy announcement. Also homeschool materials like lesson plans, printable worksheets, and another really big one is digital planners. These are all things that are useful that people are looking for to either help them solve an immediate problem that they're having or help them curate a really really nice event. Now, examples of products that do not have an organic demand are going to be things like these faceless digital marketing ebooks or courses that are floating around on Facebook and Instagram, specifically those that teach you how to resell the exact same course or ebook that you bought. Nobody is just looking for that on Etsy because they had the idea themselves or they needed to solve a problem for them. The only reason people even know that those sorts of ebooks and courses exist is because they were convinced that it's a good idea to buy those courses by a door-to-door salesman, typically woman, on Facebook or Instagram. But once you buy that ebook or course, nobody's going to buy it from you when they could just buy it from the same person that sold it to you in the first place, or the 100 other people that sellers also sold it to. Also, things like just blank downloadable affirmation cards or motivational quotes, unless this is something that is serving a purpose. So if it's an affirmation or motivational quote that is printed, maybe hand drawn with some really nice script and meant to be printed and used in a gallery wall, those could sell. But if you're just selling a quote that isn't even meant to be printed or used in any way, or doesn't have any sort of artistic appeal or real use, that probably will not sell. Again, selling digital products is not about convincing people to buy. Nobody is really buying digital products on a regular basis just because they want to support someone's business. Think about the things that you buy on a monthly basis. You're not allocating a specific portion of your income just to support people. You might choose to shop with small businesses, but generally that's going to be to purchase things that you already need. So as tempting as it can be, especially when you see all of these videos floating around the internet talking about how easy it is to sell digital products and all it takes is 5 minutes and then I made $5,000 in a month, those are not realistic. 9 times out of 10, they're just trying to sell you their course. And my advice is to find products with organic demand. I have so many videos on my channel where I show you my research process, but if your goal is to make passive income with your business, that demand is going to be the single most important factor. Moving on to tip number 2, you have to treat your Etsy shop like a business in order for it to make a profit. And every single business requires 2 types of investment in order for it to get off the ground. The first type of investment comes in the form of cash, and the second type of investment comes in the form of time and effort. The only reason that I was able to successfully start my digital product business is because it's one of the only types of businesses that does not require a huge amount of money to actually get started. Actually, selling digital products is the only business I know of that you can start right now with less than $100 and you can actually generate passive income from that business. This makes this a very accessible type of business for most people to start, but just like any other business, you still have to invest time and effort because you have to learn how to create your digital products and you have to learn the right strategies to successfully get your products in front of the right customers who want to buy them. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I started my digital product business when I was a full-time teacher. I didn't have a bunch of money to start a business and thankfully I didn't need it, but I still had to squeeze out any time I could out of my day to learn the skills and strategies that I needed to learn in order to make my business profitable. It was actually so challenging for me to find good, straightforward videos and tutorials that answered my questions and walked me through how to do things that as a beginner felt very complicated for me. Things like creating my products, creating my listing photos, knowing how to do product research, and knowing how to do keywords and SEO for my listings. That's why I started this YouTube channel, so that way I could make the videos that I wished were here when I was a beginner. So if you're finding this video helpful so far, now would be a great time to give it a like and make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. That way you never miss my free videos. Now, piggybacking off of the whole treat your Etsy shop like a business tip, regardless of how profitable you want this digital product shop to be, even if this is just a hobby that you want to make you a few bucks, you're still going to have to pay taxes. This is something that I did not know when I first started my digital product business. I actually didn't realize until almost a year after I started my Etsy shop. And that's why my next tip is to set up the financial foundation of your business correctly from the beginning. So like I said, regardless of whether or not this Etsy shop is just going to be a hobby or a full-fledged business that you want to fully live off of, the IRS is going to treat you like you're self-employed by default. And that's regardless of whether or not this is your only source of income or if you have a full-time or part-time job on the side. Now, on one hand, this is amazing because you get so many tax write-offs. I talk about this in depth in another one of my videos, but literally I write off a portion of my rent. I write off all of my equipment, so my computer, computers, my technology, even this desk and any office equipment that I buy. These are all tax deductible business expenses that as a regular employee you wouldn't get. But since you're self-employed by selling digital products, you do get to utilize these tax write-offs. But even with that, to be safe, you'll still want to set aside money for taxes. And in order to actually write off your business expenses on your taxes, you have to track your expenses because you want to know exactly how much you spent in each tax write-off category. And this is where setting up the right system from the beginning makes a huge difference, because knowing that you should track your expenses and then actually doing it are two very different things. I used to tell myself that I would log everything at the end of the month and then I just wouldn't. As an entrepreneur, there's always a million things on my to-do list, and it's really easy to let things fall through the cracks, especially the things that I don't really want to do. And that's why I started using Xero, who's actually partnering with me for this portion of today's video. Xero is a cloud-based accounting platform that helps small businesses manage their finances. And you might be thinking, I don't have a business, I'm just a side hustler. But like I mentioned earlier, the moment that you start making money selling digital products, the IRS is going to tax you like a business. And that's something that you need to be prepared for. Luckily, you can connect your bank accounts directly to Xero, so every transaction can be accounted for without you having to manually log anything. So you can categorize your business expenses, like your Canva subscription, software, tech, meals, and other random expenses. And Xero keeps it all organized so you know exactly what you've made, which expenses are tax deductible, and what you actually have left over to spend. So when tax season hits, you're not scrambling to piece together a year's worth of transactions. You'll already have the full picture and you're not leaving any money on the table. At the time I'm filming this video, you can sign up with the offer linked below and save 90% off your first 6 months. Having a system in place to track your money the right way is a non-negotiable. I hope that sharing this with you helps you avoid making some of the same mistakes that I made as a new digital product seller who didn't know any better. My next tip is less about what you need to do upfront and more about an expectation that you need to anticipate. And that is that passive income is a spectrum. Starting a business with a passive income business model does not mean that you will not have to do any work. Like I talked about in the beginning of this video, it's going to take you time on the front end to actually create your product and do your behind the scenes research to make sure that that product successfully sells. And like I also said, the level of actual work that you have to do to maintain your digital product business can vary from niche to niche. Some niches have organic demand and some don't. But in addition to the demand factor, you're also going to have to factor in a customer service factor. That's going to be recurring maintenance that you're going to continue to have to do in order to continue to get sales from your shop. I haven't posted a new product on my Etsy shop in probably 6 months, but despite that, I still spend about 30 minutes a week just logging into my shop and checking messages to see if there's any customers or potential customers who have questions about my products or need any help from me. Some products like printables are way more straightforward for customers to download and print. So you're not going to get a ton of messages from confused buyers, but every once in a while you might get a message from a customer who's older or who isn't super tech savvy, and they're literally just going to need you to tell them what button to press to actually download their print. Same thing goes for Canva templates. Now, there are some things that you can do to reduce your customer service requests. So when I first started my shop, I was getting a lot more questions from customers. I started implementing strategies like including instructions in the actual files. That way, when customers downloaded those files, they would see exactly how to edit and use their templates. These are simple written instructions, no videos included, but if you wanted to include a video, you definitely could. Also, something major that helped me reduce customer service requests and questions from people who weren't customers was including some simple download instructions and FAQs, which are frequently asked questions, in the actual listing photos of my products. I have a listing cover tutorial where I show exactly what I include in my listing photos. I'll drop a link in the description box below to that video. Like I said, I spend maybe 30 minutes a week responding to customer service messages, so it's really not that much time, but it is important that I acknowledge that even though this is a passive income business, that doesn't mean that you're going to be doing zero work. In order to maintain your income stream, you're going to have to continue to do some level of work. Now, on top of that customer service work, some digital product sellers, even those who are selling in digital product niches that do have good organic demand, but might have more competition amongst sellers, they do have to spend time advertising and promoting their products on social media or Pinterest in order to generate traffic and get sales. I personally do not. I don't do any promotion. I don't post anywhere on social media, and I don't use paid ads. I rely fully on SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, by utilizing the right keywords in my titles, tags, and descriptions of each of my products. This helps the SEO algorithm effectively put my products in front of the exact people who are looking for them. And it also allows my products to show up on Google search results as well. I've got a super thorough, almost course style video on my channel where I show exactly what I do in terms of search engine optimization and how I build a listing from start to finish, how I do all the behind the scenes research to find the best keywords, and how I actually utilize those keywords in my listing. If you have no idea where to start with SEO, or if you've already started your shop but your SEO methods just aren't working to get you traffic, or if you're getting traffic but that traffic is not converting and it might be the wrong customers that Etsy is showing your products to, that SEO video is a really good watch. So if you want to watch that video, or if you just want to keep hanging out with me, you can stick around and click that video, which I'll have pop up here. I highly recommend giving that a watch, or even saving it on a playlist to watch later, because your keyword strategy is such a foundational strategy that can make or break your digital product business. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos. And if you've got any lingering questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I do my best to read every single comment, and I use them as inspiration for my future videos. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.